Welcome, Sp17 students. This is my week 10 commentary as we put the spring break behind us and begin working on the final phase of this semester. This week, you have to kind of be prepared for a difficult area insofar as either chapter 12 in the 7th edition or chapter 13 in the 6th edition will ask you to become introduced to existential and phenomenological perspectives on personality. These areas are very rewarding to those of us who seek to make meaning out of life and to understand the meaning that is part of life. But it's also dealing with the very essential question in psychology of the relationship between mind and personality. So there's no lack of philosophical challenge or intellectual challenge this week. My advice is to simply allow yourself to be introduced to it and then come back to it if you have an appetite for it. The key terms here are going to be paradigms, and so far we've looked at the psychoanalytic paradigm, we've looked at personality trait paradigm, and this week we look at the existential paradigm. And just a bit we turn to positive psychology, which we'll explore further later in the semester. So it's a transition in our study of Funder's work. It's challenging because it's dealing with very philosophical and subtle phenomena. And it's also challenging because to think deeply about some of these core questions can itself be unpleasant. The insecurity associated with our impermanence rises to the surface. So by way of preparation, think about that. I'm most happy to help with discussion board or one-to-one consultation as you work through either your test prep for test 4 or your discussion board questions that you might have. And of course, I don't know the answers. I think some of them are rooted in an unfolding process whereby we all are wise to embrace what's called a beginner's mind. But I can at least offer the experience that I have had in this area and the points of view that I currently have. So these are good. You'll also be introduced in terms of key concepts to the matter of humanistic psychology. Humanistic psychology was popular when I was a student in the 1960s and 70s. Meaning a formal student, and really the more contemporary worlds of positive psychology and 21st century existential and phenomenological explorations of personality owe much to the revival of this perspective in the humanistic psychology movement of the last century. So it's an area that doesn't go away, and for many novice students, and I'm thinking now of introduction to psychology students, who say, well, you can't really have a science of the mind or a scientific study of personality because we're all unique. And they put that riddle on the table almost every semester. And of course the answer to that is what I call the snowflake response, which is our experience indeed is unique. Very much the way that a snowflake is unique, but also at the same time snowflakes have much in common and can be studied scientifically. So the same is true with subjective focus of our attention and subjective data and the very individual and collective search for meaning that we all experience every day. So this image on the website here, shared knowledge and personal knowledge, really comes to the core what existential psychology is all about. I won't say more because I think Funder writes a good chapter on this area of personality psych. I hope you'll find some value and meaning in it. And in the meantime, keep one eye on your course project and on efforts to organize the final peer group presentations at the end of the semester, which is but 5 weeks away. So on that note, I'll let you go back to whatever other focus you might have, and thanks for your attention.